I'm Judith Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the violent attack on a priest in Mexico highlighting the growing threats faced by clergy and religious workers to the passing of a beloved Capuchin friar known for his unwavering dedication to Dublin's homeless, we have many stories to cover. On June 30th, the Diocese of Tabasco in Mexico reported that one of its priests was shot while on his way to visit a sick parishioner in what appears to have been a case of mistaken identity. The bishop of the diocese issued a statement explaining that around 5:45 a.m. local time, Father Hector Alejandro Perez, the parish priest of St. Francis of Assisi Church in Villahermosa, the capital of Tabasco state, was wounded by gunfire. On June 30th, a priest from the Diocese of Tabasco in Mexico was shot while returning from visiting a sick parishioner. The attack appears to have been a case of mistaken identity. Bishop Gerardo de Jesus Rojas Lopez of the diocese released a statement revealing that around 5:40 a.m. local time, Father Hector Alejandro Perez, the parish priest of St. Francis of Assisi Church in Villahermosa, the capital of Tabasco state, was shot. According to the bishop, the assailant likely mistook Father Hector for someone else. Bishop Rojas explained, quote, he was leaving the rectory to visit a sick parishioner at home, end quote. The bishop added that the priest underwent surgery and is reported to be in critical condition with a guarded prognosis due to significant blood loss and the complexity of his internal injuries. Bishop Rojas also expressed the Catholic Church in Tabasco strong condemnation of what he called a barbaric act, praying that God would move the hearts of the attacker toward repentance and conversion. He called on all faithful and people of goodwill to unite in pursuit of peace for their beloved Tabasco. At a press conference, State Governor Javier May Rodriguez condemned the attack on the priest and expressed his solidarity with the Catholic Church, assuring them, quote, we are already at work. The attack will not go unpunished and we will find those responsible, end quote. In a statement shared on Platform X, the Mexican Bishops' Conference also denounced the attack, expressing solidarity in the face of the cowardly armed assault against Father Hector Perez. The bishop offered prayers to the Lord of Life for Father Hector's swift recovery, entrusting him to the protection of Virgin Mary. They also extended their support to the Diocese of Tabasco, the parish of St. Francis of Assisi, and to Father Hector's family and loved ones. Mexico has long been considered one of the most dangerous countries for priests and those engaged in religious ministry. Over the past 6 years, 10 priests and 1 seminarian have been murdered in the country. In addition to that, 6 bishops and 7 priests have been victims of various acts of violence and organized crime. A Nicaraguan priest, Father Pedro Alvarado Mendez Perez, have been arrested and held incommunicado since June 19th, raising fresh concerns about Ortega regime's persecution of Catholic Church. Though police allege public intoxication, critics argue the charges are baseless and politically motivated, especially as Father Mendez was not behind the wheel. His detention follows a broader pattern of arrests targeting clergy and lay leaders who speak out against Nicaragua's authoritarian government.
A Nicaraguan priest has been arrested and held incommunicado for over a week, sparking concerns about continued religious persecution in the country. Father Pedro Abelardo Mendez Perez and his driver Luis David Nemendi Suarez were apprehended by police at a checkpoint in Granada at 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 19th. According to a press release from the Public Relations Department of the National Police of Nicaragua, the two were detained on accusations of public intoxication and endangering others. However, even if the allegations were true, critics argue that the detention of Father Mendez Perez is unjustified as he was not driving the vehicle. Father Mendez Perez, who serves at the Santa Maria Magdalena parish in Monimbo, is the longtime critic of Nicaragua's co-presidents Daniel Ortega and Rosario Murillo. The priest has reportedly been targeted by the regime for his vocal opposition to the dictatorship. In March 2023, he publicly called for a day of prayer for then-imprisoned Bishop Rolando José Alvarez Lagos. His arrest is part of a broader crackdown on the Catholic Church and Christian communities in Nicaragua. Roman Catholic lay leaders Carmen Maria Sainz Martinez and Lesbia del Socorro Gutierrez Poveda were also arrested in August 2024 and have now spent over 9 months in detention with no proof of life shared with their families.
US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday, July 1st, that Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. He urged Iran-backed Hamas militants to accept what has been called a final proposal for the truce, which will be delivered by mediators from Qatar and Egypt. In a social media post, Trump added that his representatives had a long and productive meeting with Israeli officials regarding the situation in Gaza. US President Donald Trump has announced that Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that the US would work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris and Egyptians, who have worked very hard to help bring peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope that Hamas takes this deal because it will not get better, it will only get worse, Trump wrote. Israel has yet to confirm its acceptance of the proposed deal, and Hamas has not issued any immediate response. Trump made the announcement ahead of the scheduled meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu next week, during which he pledged to take a very firm stance. On Tuesday, Israel's Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer was scheduled to hold talks in Washington with US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Vice President J.D. Vance. Earlier in the day, Israel's UN Ambassador Danny Danon told BBC that Israel is definitely open to ceasefire agreement. In an interview on BBC News, Danon accused Hamas of taking hardline stance. He added, quote, "This conflict will end once our hostages return safely," end quote. An estimated 50 Israeli hostages remain in Gaza, with at least 20 believed to be alive. Last week, a senior Hamas representative told the BBC that mediation efforts for a truce and a hostage exchange has intensified, although direct talks with Israel has not progressed. The Israeli government has maintained that the war will only conclude with the total dismantling of Hamas. Meanwhile, Hamas continues to demand a permanent ceasefire and a full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. Trump's remarks follow Israel's recent directive for evacuation in northern Gaza, signaling plans for intensified military operations. On Monday, June 30th, at least 20 Palestinians were reportedly killed when an Israeli airstrike hit the seaside cafe in Gaza City, according to medical sources and eyewitnesses. In March, a previously established truce broke down after Israel resumed airstrikes in Gaza. The Israeli military described the offensive as a series of preemptive strikes aimed at countering Hamas's preparation for potential attacks and buildup of forces. The earlier ceasefire agreement, which began on January 19th, was designed to unfold into 3 phases. However, it failed to progress beyond the initial stage. A controversial bill passed in Spain's parliament seeks to criminalize support for individuals who wish to reverse their gender identity. The proposed law has triggered strong backlash from the Spanish Evangelical Alliance, which argues that personal or pastoral help offered voluntarily is being wrongly labeled as conversion therapy.
The Spain Congress approves a bill on June 24th proposing prison sentences of 6 months to 2 years for anyone offering or promoting what the government calls conversion therapy. The law covers psychological, medical, or religious efforts aimed at helping a person return to their original birth identity. The Alianza Evangélica Española AEE has strongly opposed the bill, warning that it targets Christian pastoral care and undermines personal religious freedom. Leaders of the group argued that faith-based or psychological support given voluntarily to individuals reconciling their belief with their identity is being unfairly equated despite not involving manipulation or force. Evangelical Focus reports that the bill explicitly mentions priests, pastors, and religious leaders as potential offenders, raising concern that criminal charges could also apply to faith-based guidance. According to reports, the AEE said the bill is biased and doesn't treat all situations equally, which creates a contradiction. While society supports those transitioning to an LGBTQ+ identity, it punishes the reverse choice. They say this oversteps on democratic freedoms and may force religious leaders into conscientious objection. The bill now moves to the Senate. If passed, it would become one of Europe's strictest laws against conversion therapy, drawing sharp criticism from Christian communities.
Christian nuns in northern Mozambique were held at gunpoint and threatened with decapitation during a violent robbery at their convent. The Mercedarian Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament shared their ordeal with the Catholic charity Aid to the Church in Need. The attack reflects growing insecurity in the region, which has seen a rise in religiously motivated violence.
A group of Catholic nuns in Mozambique experienced a violent intrusion on June the 8th when armed intruders stormed their convent and threatened them with execution, according to Premier Christian News. The Mercedarian Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament told the Aid to the Church in Need ACN that the attackers entered with machetes and iron bars. Sister Felia Robledo Alvarado reported that 8 men broke into the house while others subdued guards and secured the gates. The nuns had to hand over mobile phones, money, and computers. They said the men raided their rooms and intimidated them while ransacking the premises. Although the incident occurred in early June, it came to light only weeks later. Sister Ophelia explained that they had remained silent initially due to fear and trauma, saying she had felt too afraid to speak out until now. Though there were no reports of physical harm, the emotional toll was evident as several sisters remained withdrawn in the days that followed. This assault took place just a week after missionaries in nearby Mietsi fell victim to a similar machete point robbery. Sister Aparecida Ramos Queiroz, ACN's coordinator in Pemba Diocese, emphasized the urgent need for enhanced security at religious institutions. Since 2017, Mozambique has seen a surge in jihadist extremism, causing widespread violence and displacement.
In a powerful testament to faith and growth, 40 new priests were ordained across Vietnam during June, the month dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. The ordination took place in the Diocese of Da Nang, Can Tho, and Ho Chi Minh City, with church leaders emphasizing selfless service and power of prayer. As Vietnam's Catholic Church continues to thrive, the nation also deepens its ties with the Vatican, having welcomed its first resident papal representative in late 2023.
In June, the month dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, 40 new priests were ordained in Vietnam. According to a report by Agenzia Fide, 6 priestly ordinations took place in the Diocese of Da Nang, 13 in the Diocese of Can Tho, and 21 in the Archdiocese of Ho Chi Minh City. During the ordination of 6 priests on June 24th, Monsignor Joseph Dang Duc Ngan, Archbishop of Hue and Apostolic Administrator of Da Nang, stated that priests are consecrated not to live for themselves, but to be all things to all people. On June 25th, Bishop Peter Le Tan Loy presided over the ordination of 13 new priests at the Diocese of Can Tho and highlighted the importance of the prayers of the faithful in helping the new priests lead a life faithful to their pastoral identity. Archbishop Joseph Nguyen Nang ordained 21 men to the priesthood in the Diocese of Ho Chi Minh City on June 27th. According to Open Doors, approximately 9.8% of the Vietnamese population is Christian, and Roman Catholic churches enjoy more freedom than other denominations. In recent years, the Vietnamese government has sought to strengthen its diplomatic relations with the Vatican, and the nation received its first resident papal representative in December 2023.
The United States State Department has publicly condemned the UK's assisted suicide bill, which was narrowly passed in the House of Commons on June 20th. The criticism came via a statement from the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labour, which reaffirmed America's stance on the sanctity of life. The bill, which allows terminally ill adults in England and Wales to choose assisted death, now heads to the House of Lords for further debate.
The United States State Department has condemned the UK assisted suicide bill, which was passed last week by a narrow margin in a post on X on Thursday. The statement was issued by the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labour, a division of the State Department. The Terminally Ill Adults End-of-Life Bill was approved in the British House of Commons on Friday, June 20th, with a majority of 314 to 291. The bill, introduced by Labour MP Kim Leadbeater, would allow terminally ill individuals in England and Wales with fewer than 6 months to live to legally choose assisted death. Following the vote, the Bureau wrote on X, quote, "As the UK Parliament considers support for state-subsidised suicide, euphemistically called a bill for terminally ill adults, the United States reaffirms the sanctity of life," end quote. It further stated that the Western world should stand for life, vitality and hope over surrender and death. The bill, which passed by a slim 23-vote margin, will now proceed to the House of Lords. If approved there, royal assent would be the final step before England and Wales become the 7th nation in Europe to legalise some form of assisted dying.
Pope Leo XIV has named Bishop Mark Rivituso, Auxiliary Bishop of St. Louis, as the new Metropolitan Bishop of Mobile, Alabama. Rivituso succeeds Archbishop Thomas Rody, who had led the Archdiocese of Mobile since 2008. Rody submitted his resignation to Pope Francis in March 2024 upon reaching the age of 75.
Pope Leo XIV on July 1st appointed Mark S. Rivituso as the 3rd Archbishop of Mobile, Alabama. Archbishop-designate Rivituso will be installed as Archbishop of Mobile by the Papal Nuncio to the United States, Cardinal Christophe Pierre. The installation mass is expected to take place in about 2 months. Archbishop Thomas J. Rody, who has served the Archdiocese since 2009, submitted the resignation in March 2024 when he reached the age of 75. The Holy Father has appointed him Apostolic Administrator to govern the Archdiocese until the Archbishop-designate Mark S. Rivituso is formally installed. Archbishop-designate Rivituso was born in St. Louis on September 20, 1961. He was ordained a priest in 1988 and has ministered at several parishes throughout the St. Louis area and also served as Vicar General for the Archdiocese of St. Louis since 2011. He holds a licentiate in Canon and Civil Law from St. Paul University in Ottawa, Canada. The Archdiocese of Mobile was established in 1829 and was raised to the status of an archdiocese in 1980. The Archdiocese has 107,870 members in 83 parishes and missions spread across 28 counties of the state of Alabama.
Brother Kevin Crowley, a beloved Capuchin friar and a tireless advocate of Dublin's homeless, has died at the age of 90. He founded the Capuchin Day Centre in 1969 after witnessing people eating from bins, turning it into a vital refuge that now serves thousands weekly. Remembered for his compassion and unwavering commitment to human dignity, Brother Kevin's legacy continues to shine in the lives he touched.
Brother Kevin Crowley, a Capuchin friar who dedicated his life to serving the homeless of Dublin, has died at the age of 90. He was the founder of the Capuchin Day Centre on Bow Street, which has been providing food, clothing and support to the homeless for over 5 decades. A true humanitarian at heart, Brother Crowley was deeply moved after witnessing people eating from rubbish bins on the streets of Dublin. In response, he established the Capuchin Day Centre in 1969. What began as a modest initiative grew into one of Dublin's most reliable refuges for the poor and destitute. Today, the centre serves over 1,000 hot meals daily and distributes more than 1,450 food parcels each week. For Brother Crowley, preserving the dignity and respect of each person who came to the centre was central to his mission. In 2016, he was honored with the Rehab Person of the Year award by Rehab Group, an international not-for-profit organization that recognizes individuals who bring light and hope into the lives of others. Archbishop Dermot Farrell of Dublin extended his condolences to Brother Kevin's family and his fellow Capuchins, saying Brother Kevin always saw the face of Christ in those he served. His was a love that reached out with no questions asked of those who sought assistance, the Archbishop said.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.